All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. Woohoo, man. It was a serious, intense weekend, but maybe that was just me. Good morning. My name is Bonnie Sachs, and I am the award winning author of The Health and Happiness Guide to the Universal Laws. And it is great to see you. Literally, it's great to see you because there's that part of me that's like, oh no, is everything going to show up the way it's supposed to? So it is wonderful to see you here today. It is June 10th, and it's been a really intense weekend for me. Perhaps that is just my thing. Wow, I'm going to have some interesting things come up on my screen today. We'll see how it shows up. So I actually have my daughter visiting in town. For those of you who watched my video last week, you know that I was really emotional about her engagement. And so she is now here and we are playing and having fun. Good morning, Robin. It's great to see you. Thank you for posting something so I can see that it's all, that it is showing up the way it normally shows up. You know, that whole thing. Anyway, so there's been a ton of information that has come in for me this weekend, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to be going with this. That's one of the things I love about this whole process is I never know exactly where I'm going to be going. But I do want to talk just a minute about the chatter that goes on in our heads, because I believe all of us have that bit of chatter going on in our heads. We're constantly having conversations with ourselves. That's kind of how I see it, right? Good morning, Shannon. It's great to see you. I see it as the chatter that is going on in my head. And most of you know that I walk in the morning, and I have been walking by myself, which means I have more chatter going on because we're busy constantly having conversations with ourselves, right? Back and forth. I don't know about you, but at least for me, my conversations are often about the things that I'm supposed to be doing next, kind of like going through my to-do list, right? Okay, so today I want to make sure I go through that box of stuff, and I'm going to go and visit this friend, and she is going through this particular thing, and I start down the path of what I can do to help. Good morning, Hadar, and good morning, Erin. It's great to see you all. At the moment, I'm talking about chatter and giving myself big healings around not thinking that I am doing the chattering. Good morning, Gretchen, and good morning, Angela. It's great to see you all. This chatter, the conversation, the running conversation that we have going on in our head, however you want to look at it, it is the topic of conversation at the moment. That chatter is actually happening in your head. And the way it was showing up for me this weekend was that there is a running conversation of the low frequencies that are in my body, the beings that are in my body. And there is also conversation going on with my soul, giving me information, right? And my healing team that's giving me information. And the part that's really interesting is being able to differentiate between the low frequencies, right? And what is the truth of me, however you want to divide those conversations up. There is the conversation that is going on that is the truth of you, and then there's the conversation of everything that isn't the truth of you. However you want to phrase that, I like to call them beings that are just sitting in my clairaudient channels having conversations with me. And so when I'm just having a conversation about my list of things to do, for example, I'm going through my list, and most of that is soul directed for me, right? It is, this is what you're going to be doing today, and you're going to write about this, or you're going to talk about this, or we're going to make sure we go and run these particular errands because there is going to be healing that is going to be done or work that is done that I don't necessarily even understand at the moment. Sometimes I get the message, we're going to the mall. And I go to the mall, and once I get to the mall, I realize that there is someone that I'm interacting with, that I'm having a conversation with, and I'm able to help in some way. And that's kind of fun when you see that. Good morning, Jill Wilson. It is great to see you. And good morning, Lisa. So these conversations that are going on in my head, for the longest time, I had these conversations going on in my head. And what I would say was this small voice, kind of feeling like it's way in the distance, was, the voice saying, you can do this. You've got this. You know what to do next. This is the way we're going to go. It was a voice that was constantly cheering me on, constantly moving me forward. And when I actually paid attention to it, I would say was always positive, was always speaking to me from a perspective of love. And that voice has always been there. But a long time ago, it's all relative, right? 2 years ago, that voice really far away. And when it spoke to me, it seemed really quiet, like it was way in the distance. And I just kept saying, oh, I got this. I got this. Let me just listen to that a little bit more. It's really funny because my computer at the moment is now telling me it's trying to connect, that my video has been paused. So I'm just going to keep going, and we're going to see how it's going to go. We're going to reassign those beings that do not want to have me talk, and we're just going to keep moving on, right? Love that particular part of this. So those low, that voice in the distance was my soul. That voice in the distance is the one that is always guiding me, is always paying attention to what I'm doing next. All those voices seemed in my head that was like, oh, why did you say that? That was ridiculous. What was that? Why did you wear that? What were you thinking when you wore those shoes, or you made that statement, or you did this particular thing? That part shows up a lot. Cool, Robin. Thank you for telling me I'm still on the computer, because it's very entertaining. It's trying very hard to tell me that I am not on. But all those other voices that were going on in my head were the ones that I could now start to see that they're telling me that I'm not worthy. They're telling me that I should be really pissed off at this particular person. Or could you believe that person said that thing, or that they showed up this way? They were voices that were constantly looking at everybody out there and having something to say about them. Good morning, Katniss. It is great to see you here. Those voices that I have going on in my head, they're usually the ones that are showing up, and they're angry, they're frustrated, they're taking on blame. Sometimes they are fear-based, right? Like, oh my God, you need to watch out. That person is really scary. And if you're not careful, that person is going to do something to you, right? There's all these conversations that are going on in my head. And what I want to do is to recognize them for what they are, right? Recognize them for the low frequencies that they are. Recognize that when they're speaking to me, they are not speaking to me from a place of love. They're not speaking to me from a place of support. There is no support in talking bad about somebody, or judging somebody else, or judging myself, right? It was so interesting to be like, oh, there's the clarity around that. Good morning, Jennifer. It's great to see you. And I start to connect with that voice that was in the distance, that small voice that was in the distance, that no longer is in the distance. That voice is right next to me. That voice is loud and clear. That voice is the one who is guiding me, telling me what to do next, that's always supporting me, that's always putting me in a place of moving forward, in a place of seeing the blessings in my life, and in a place of seeing people with more love. And the more I grab onto that voice and listen to that voice, the more those other voices start to fade away, right? Those other noises, that chatter. And this weekend, my soul did a brilliant job of showing me all the chatter that was going on. And they were like little minions, little tiny voices that were just all the time, right? And if I tuned into them, they were saying things that weren't very nice. Like, did you see how you talked last week? Did you see how you showed that emotion? What were you thinking when you said this or that? And then when I backed out, when I pulled myself out of those conversations, I could hear my soul telling me, you were so amazing. You did such an incredible job. You are making a difference in other people's lives. You are doing what is next to do. However it shows up for you, right? Your soul is going to tell you something incredibly different than my soul is going to tell me, because we're on different paths. We're doing different things. And it is so fascinating when we can know that there are voices that are always going on in our heads, that we can understand that those voices that are going on in our heads are an example of us being clairaudient. We are clairaudient. We have access to that all the time. The question is, what are we listening to, right? Because we all are clairaudient, but we can be listening to those really low frequencies, those beings that do not have our best interests at heart. Or we can be listening to our healing team. We can be listening to our soul that is totally cheering us on. And Hadar, I love that you reconcile not having listened to the voice, the real voice. I love that you asked that question, because what is that? What is that then says, but what about all that time I wasn't listening? What about all that time in between a couple of great decisions that I made, a couple of great times when I was listening to my soul? So for me, that's an example of me listening to my soul, that I was supposed to marry my husband, and that I was supposed to have my daughter, and then that I was supposed to have my son, right? What about all that time in between there? Got married in 1989 and had my daughter in 1992. What about those 3 years? Was I listening to my soul? Was I paying attention? Or, how do I get over that kind of stuff? So awesome. Such a great question, because the answer is those low frequencies are going to pop up in my clairaudient channels, and they're going to tell me, look at all the ways you screwed up. Look at all the ways you didn't pay attention to what was next. Remember when you thought you were supposed to work over there and you weren't, and you were there for 3 months and then you got fired? And remember when you put a deposit down on a new place, on an apartment or on a house, and then you lost the deposit? And remember when you got that idea that you were going to start this kind of business and you sunk $1,000 into doing that and you were wrong? Remember that? See, that's proof that you're not really listening, that you're not really paying attention, that you're really a screw up. Is that the case? Absolutely not. And when I start to hear those voices, I begin to recognize them for the same kinds of low frequencies that are constantly trying to get into my channels and have me believe that I did not say the right thing to somebody when they needed some comfort, or to blame myself because I snapped at one of my kids or I snapped at my husband. Those are the same kind of low frequencies. And when I recognize them, I now understand that I want to be able to move them, right? I want to ask someone on in the angelic realm, source, creator, God. If I have the information, I want to be able to ask for those low frequencies to be reassigned. And the more I connect with that, the more I go, oh, wait a minute, I recognize you. You sound like those really low frequencies that I don't want in my space anymore. The more I can see that, the more I can differentiate that that's what those are, the more I can move them out, right? The more I can shift away from them and not give them any credence, not give them any credit. Good morning, Eileen. It is great to see you. I love that you have joined us. And we're actually talking about all that chatter that goes on in our heads, and being able to differentiate between the low frequencies that are never, ever being supportive. I love sometimes that I hear them say, you know, that person who's doing that healing on you, they're not doing crap. They're really not doing anything. I don't know why you keep texting them. I don't know why you keep thinking that they're making a difference. And when they say things like that, I'm like, I recognize you. We could call you by a name, but what we're just going to do is say, you know what, I think it's time for you to go. I think it's time for you to move out of my clairaudient channels because you're not serving me. You're not telling me anything that's the truth. And the more I can ask for those things to be moved, the more I can have more clear channels to be able to talk to my soul, right? I meet lots of people every day who are like, wow, that's really cool that you can talk to your soul. And I think, yeah, but what's even cooler is that you can too. You absolutely have the ability to talk to your soul, to hear your soul, to connect with what is next for you. It is absolutely nothing special about me or anyone else on the planet. We all have the ability to talk to our souls. And as we move those low frequencies out, as we move out the shame, the pain, the guilt, the blame, there's so many of them. And even just the worry and the fear and the, oh my gosh, everybody else can do it, but I can't do it. The more we can move those things out, the more we can connect with our soul, the more we can start to hear those true voices, those real voices, those voices that are really giving us great information, that are really connecting us with what is next to do. Good morning, Amber. It is great to see you. And now I see how this connects, this part about listening to the chatter, how it connects to judgment and how it connects to truly seeing with the eyes of love. Because those low frequencies, those beings, I love that. Your beings talking shit about me. I actually am going to tell you the very funny response that Kat Gibson gave to me. She is the person that I work with, that we teach a class called Mastery, and I absolutely adore Kat, but there are definitely a lot of times that when I send Kat a message to ask for a healing, that I'm hearing like, what are you talking to her for? She can't do anything. Or why are you talking to her? She's not going to answer you. And it's a great example for all of us, right? This has absolutely nothing to do with how powerful Kat is as a healer, because she is so incredibly awesome. But it has to do with my beings, right? My beings that show up, my low frequencies that are busy. Why would you think she could do that? She can't do that. What are you doing? Because my low frequencies, my beings do not want me to get the kick-ass healing from Kat or from anyone else, right? There's lots of people, but those low frequencies want to stay in my body. They're really comfortable. They don't want to be reassigned, so that absolutely happens. And last week I had a great opportunity to get a little bit of a chuckle out of this because I was hearing that Kat was trying to kick me off the team that taught mastery, that, Kat was going to go find somebody else that would be better to teach this class with. And I sent a text. I mean, I did get a chuckle out of it, but I sent a text to Kat, and Kat was so very humorous about it because she sent me a text back and she goes, "Damn, I was discovered. I can't believe they told you our plan." And, if you can't laugh about it, find a way to laugh about it because it makes it very, very funny. Yeah, they obviously know how powerful you are. But those beings, those low frequencies, right? It would be so easy to get really pissed off at them, to get really angry about it, to judge them, to turn around and want to throw some shit at them, right? To be so angry about what are they doing in my space? They're ruining my relationships. I'm tired of listening to them. There's a lot of things that we can say about those low frequencies and those beings as we're moving them out. That's judgment, right? That is judgment. And that's a low frequency. And is there not a bunch of beings sitting in our space? It's very funny because I'm seeing Islam. Like they're like a grayish purple in the example that I'm being shown. They're like sitting back going, yeah, look at that shit. That stuff is awful. I can't believe that you would even think that they were good. They're busy like judging, right? Arms crossed, busy judging. Those low frequencies that we are moving out. That's judgment. And when we see judgment, we want to move that out too. Any place where we are looking at someone else and saying, huh, what in the world are you doing wearing that outfit? Or, huh, I can't believe you said that. Who are you and what do you think you know? Right? Things like that, that's judgment. And we might not even say it with the attitude that I just gave. We might say like, oh my God, wow, they really bugged the crap out of me. Still judgment, right? Still me not seeing them through the eyes of love. Wow, that one shows up a lot for me. Hey, Chelsea, it's great to see you. Yeah. Eileen, I love you. Those beings need to borrow Eileen's beanie. So we talk a lot about moving judgment. Judgment is so insidious. It's so easy for us not to see it as judgment, right? To see the things that show up as judging them. I was like, it's amazing how often we can pass judgment on somebody. And one of the things that I had an opportunity to see, my soul was showing me this too, of the places where I step into judgment about somebody, where I'm like, what are they thinking? Right? And I can say it really lighthearted. What are they thinking? What are they thinking? That is another way of passing judgment, right? And we can actually even go into, I'm not going to pass judgment, but I'm just saying, and you don't even have to say it out loud. You can just be thinking it. And that shows up as an energy that we just want to move out, that we want to ask for the healing on. I love, love, love when people text me and they say, can I have a healing on judgment? Can I have a healing of any kind, right? Because that means we're moving more of those low frequencies out. We're getting rid of more of them. So I think it's amazing when we can recognize the chatter that's in our heads, in our clairaudient channels. We can recognize when we're being judgmental. We know, that's not me. Kat, that is so awesome. I love that you bring up going into victim, right? Oh my God. going into victim, absolutely. Like those beings are doing it to me again, right? Or that person is doing that to me again. How many times is that person going to do that to me before they finally realize, right? Let me be a victim. Let me be, I feel so bad for me. It's so tough being me. It's so hard being me, what I have to suffer through and how I have to go through this process. If only I was like somebody who had it easy, right? That victim. And then when we go into powerlessness, Kat, that is definitely, I've been seeing that one a lot, where I think I can't do it. I can't do it, that I am powerless. Oh my gosh, I have to go to fear. We had an awesome opportunity yesterday. I had an awesome opportunity yesterday to remind myself that I am way more powerful than any low frequency, that there is absolutely nothing that anyone can put out into the field that I can't handle in some way or another, right? People could throw all sorts of nasty, angry, fear-based things at me, and I can handle it. And it's not from a place of, oh, look at me, I'm big and bad. It's just a clarity around, I can handle it. I can manage it. I've got this. Such an awesome frequency to be able to hold, that I have this, that I am powerful enough to handle everything that comes to me. And I can handle that chatter. I can handle those low frequencies that are going on in my head, that I can ask for a healing. I can ask if you are in the class. Good morning, Melissa, and good morning, Vicki. It's great to see you guys. I can ask for assistance from somebody I know who knows how to help me, right? I can absolutely I can absolutely ask for the help. Jill, I love when you pop on. Yeah, I'm stirring the pot of beings. There's a lot of beings behaving badly. And it is an opportunity for us to move more of them, right? We'll just keep moving more of them and moving more of them. It is absolutely important for us to know that we have the ability to ask for assistance. Anybody who is on any of these videos always has an opportunity to ask me to help them. I'm happy to help them in any way I can. And then if you are, of course, in our classes and have access to mentors, you have that opportunity to get assistance. And it's moving enough of the low frequencies out, right? Moving enough of the chatter out that you go, you know what? I really am worth it. You know what? I really am worth it. I am worth asking for assistance. I am worth moving enough of these low frequencies out so that I can hear what my soul is saying. And what happens is your soul's voice, your soul's words just keep getting louder and louder and more clear. You have more of an understanding that, oh my gosh, that's me. That's me that's talking to me. That is love. That is joy. That is bliss. That is gratitude. That is such an amazing high frequency that I want more of that in my life. And it is a great opportunity to practice that. So I absolutely love and appreciate each and every one of you that show up, that pass this video on, that ask for a healing, ask for assistance. Remember, you can always ask the quantum field. Say it out loud. Can I have some help? Can I get a healing on that? And it doesn't matter who shows up for you. You are going to absolutely get the healing. And I look forward to seeing you guys over the next week and seeing you here next Monday. Love you.